Hey guys, good afternoon. You should be able to hear me. I just want to make this really clear. So, what this is for me is I want to use this platform for a journal and just kind of keep, everybody grounded and show you. I believe that being live, trading live, showing transparency through alerts, whatever it may be, is really the way to go with trading. People need to see the truth, whether you're making money or you're losing money. All right, so what I'd like to do is come in here at night, no scheduled time. I don't want anybody to hold me to anything, right? I already work hard enough during the day. What I do want to do though is I'm broadcasting across four different platforms here. So we're out there on Facebook Live, we're on looks like YouTube, and then we're on Periscope, and we are also on Twitch. That's right. So let's talk about today, kind of give you some insight of what I expect for tomorrow and so forth. So first things first, let's go over here to the ES futures and talk about those right now. All right, so ES futures, we're going to look over here on the left. This is going to be my August weekly, and this is what we're forecasting for the week, and you can see that we're moving on an inside and up here, making highs. All right, and we did push up into my next target here at 44.94 today, and currently we're pulling back. This is almost just like last night, pulling back to the 4-hour 9 EMA. Now last night I was expecting a move hopefully into a box down below. That did not happen, but that doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't. At the end of the day, that does not matter to me because I'm a bull by heart and have been for many years. Um, so what happened last night when we did our Periscope live here is that we were talking about the 4-hour cloud, and if it did not hold, I was expecting a move back down into this chaotic candle down here. All right, so that's going to still stay true for tonight. So this is almost like deja vu, kind of Groundhog Day. You got this big chaotic candle over here, and when price leaves very quickly, and we run out of buyers, in that case, then we go back to where the market remembers that there were buyers. And guess what? Price left here in a hurry. We have this inside and up formation. This is where I'd expect price to pull back into. So 44.61 and into this inside and up here at around 44.52. Now I had a little one-on-one training just a little bit earlier, and we were doing some MES contracts. And so just kind of show you on a 5 minute what we do here at Trendy Trading is that we use what's called a line in the sand. And this is, again, one of my scripts that pops up automatically every night. We have daily edges. And basically, the way that you want to view this, so if you're a futures trader, is we like to get long at the lower edges, okay? And then up here, we have resistance, all right? And then the line in the sand is exactly what it stands for. What I'm looking for here is if the line in the sand cannot hold, right? Then we get these signals, and again, these are trendy signals right here. See these red arrows? So that's letting me know, hey, it might be time to short. All right, so I want to be short underneath the line in the sand, and then the targets that are provided tonight are those targets where, if you have multiple contracts on, you're looking at trimming. If you just have one contract on, maybe just ride it through the night and you stick with your stop. And maybe what will happen is you wake up here early in the morning. Okay, so might not look like a lot, and again, we're just kind of in that training phase. So if I were to come over here, I think we put on a contract during that talk here, and if you look over here, you can see just one contract, 40-50 bucks. You never know what's going to happen. It's a very easy trade though. This is a lot different. So I was teaching last night on MES what that looks like. So sorry, with ES. So MES is a lot different, and I showed you this little arrow here. And if you click on the question mark, remember on the ES you were looking for every tick was $12.50, right? And just to hold a contract, I think fell into like $13 or $14,000. Now, if you're just kind of like learning and you're trying to get your feet wet and test this out, MES is by far, in my opinion, the way to go. But don't ever think that you can't get caught on the wrong side just because of what this is showing. You're like, oh man, $1.25 a tick, right? That's only $5 per point. Man, that's a steal, right? Listen to me. During COVID, we had people who were in MES, including myself. I mean, one contract can go, $1,000, $1,500, and if you're on the wrong side of that, it could be trouble. So I always personally trade with stops in place. Okay, so think about that. All right. Now to the downside, I'm not too concerned right now, to be quite honest with you. I'm not worried that something's going to come out in the market, knock on some wood, right? That is going to give us, some sort of crazy nutso move where I'm caught, with my tail between my legs. Okay. So what I'm looking for here again is see if we could pull back at least down into the 44.78 level by morning. And if we go back to the 4-hour candle here, once again, if the 9 EMA breaks, then we're looking for this chaotic candle. We're looking for prices back to 44.61 and possibly into 44.52. Now, the market needs to create a little bit of range, folks, right? Range, just like this. So when the market pulled back into here, it pulled back into a level of support, and then it created this very nice range that we could trade to the upside, okay? All right, so that's the ES. All right, let's go ahead and move on and kind of look at some other things. I want to talk about some trades that I took and kind of go over those with you all in here so you can kind of learn from, things, whether I made money or I didn't make money. Let's go over to MU. That was a big one today. All right, and so I was out and about, and when I'm out and about, I'm kind of like, well, let's call it a beach trade, right? I live out here by the water, on the water, and when I'm on the water, I like to just enjoy my life, right? And so what I always tell people is, you know what you're going for. So these are quite some time away, all right? And I posted those on Twitter. And a matter of fact, let me just pull them up real quick. 149 days out. So I'm 149 days out. $70 calls are a Delta 63, and what I'm looking for is a move back up towards the 85 to 90 level. Okay. This afternoon, we got this big spike, all right, and it pushed right up into the 38.2. Now, that's a big deal. That was my next target for this long-term trade, and it was hit within seconds, right? So most likely we had a lot of traders who probably closed out. They were happy with profits or whatever. For me, I'm in the long term of this, obviously, buying 149 days. That's January 21st, 2022, just to give you an idea. And what I'm looking at here, folks, is if we take this Fibonacci off, so I'm going to delete that, and you're going to see here there's this blue line. That's a long-term trendy edge. I use those for long-term trades. Okay, these are what I would use this for, 3, 6, 9 months leap options. I would use off of my trendy blue edge. Okay, and when we are here at this level, I'm looking for it to be support. All right, and you can see here on the weekly, this could move up very nicely. We've created some range in the MU. Okay, now as far as this, right, what can we take from this? Well, on a 4-hour, we had that quick spike. And notice how it pulled back very quickly. This is what we call the decelerator, as the name implies. It decelerated. And if you look over here, you can see why. We have some inside and down formations, and we had a lot of selling pressure there. So what I would expect in the coming weeks is that this area right in here, this pink line to yellow line, also trendy edges, just different time frames. So basically 73 into about 70 and a half should act as support. And as long as we continue to make higher lows within this down range, so this is a down range, and these are higher lows, as long as we are creating those higher lows, I would expect another attempt up here. All right, and most likely we flag here for a bit, and then when it decides to break, then I'm looking for that move into the 80s, as I would say. Again, buying 149 days of time here. Okay. All right, so the next thing that I wanted to take a look at was Bitcoin. We're going to come over here. You can also trade this on the micros. And if anybody's interested in Bitcoin, you can come over here just to give you a quick idea. If I want to trade one contract of the futures, okay, with Bitcoin, check this out. $25 a tick, all right? And just to leverage one contract is $140,000. That's pretty nuts. I think so. All right, so $140,000 just for that. No, thank you. I'd much rather just trade the micro Bitcoin futures, which is pretty fun, and it's definitely not that. Okay, I think it just to leverage like a micro is a couple $1,000, something like that. Okay. But I want to go over this. This is a blueprint that I gave traders for Bitcoin several months in advance. I actually shorted this from this red box. My price target was in the green box, so we did make it all the way down into the green box. And then once we got in the green box, you're looking for bids to come in and for these levels to hold. They held. And notice that my candles, they have changed momentum from red to green. Okay. So again, all these targets were here before. We came into those targets. We broke through resistance finally. And then my instructions to the team on this were look for resistance to be support now. No reason to be in a hurry. This was a really big run right here for the last 4 weeks. So it's time for price to digest with Bitcoin. All right. So as long as we can hold this 42,828 level, and that you can see that's also confluent now with the cloud, then I'm still looking for that push up towards 52,862 and then 56,489. And I would expect it to kind of die out in here once it gets here. All right. So again, my targets from here, from the green box, are the red box. Okay. Pretty straightforward. All right, so moving on down. Also, I have some Disney, so I keep adding to this position, and this one, what's going on with it. I want to show you on a higher time frame. I'm actually going to take you to a monthly time frame. Okay, I want you to see what's going on. Once again, there's those trendy edges, right? These are your long-term edges. So I want to look at this pattern, and I'm taking it from the pivot low. Okay, and then we start the rally here. The rally starts there, kind of come up, double inside and then up. Momentum changes from white to green. Things start looking really good. We go inside and up here, and then we come back. We don't have buyers here. So price goes back to where it remembers we have buyers, and guess what? It's right at the trendy edge. So we did really well into earnings. I think we made 300%, something like that on debit spreads to the upside. And now after earnings, right here, okay, Disney has a tendency to do this. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed that, but they tend to do this. And so they pulled all the way back to the trendy edge. And what I would like to see is over the long term that this is going to continue to hold. And so what I'm doing is I'm buying out of the money. Okay, because DIS stands for disappointing sometimes. And so I just want to be careful. I want to give it a little bit of time and see how it's going to react while it stays in my neutral zone. So I added today, and then now that position is now positive. It was only down, I want to say like 8%, maybe 5%. I have 51 days out, and I'm looking for 200. Right? So as long as we can make higher lows off of the trendy edge here, notice that we are starting to round out. So we're getting this nice rounding bottom. All right. And you typically after a rounding bottom formation with higher lows, we will get that push into the inside and down, which is right here. And if I go across, you can see that we've come up and we've tested that several times. I do believe on the next test we will break through that, and then we'll start headed towards all-time highs to that round number of 200 plus. So that's what I'm looking for. All right. Should I, because the market's red, should I just like change the background? How's that? You know, maybe. All right. So that's what I'm looking for in Disney. So that trade's going pretty well. And then I want to talk to you guys a little bit about how I do things when I'm rolling. All right, and I'll get to that here in a few minutes. So rolling as in rolling options, and I'll kind of give you some insight of how I approach that. MGM, another positive trade for us today. Very nice trade, made 80%, I think, just in a matter of minutes. Maybe a little bit, a little bit more than that. It wasn't bad though. So this is what we call an ACDC. This is a really straight up, easy, I would say, an easy. A setup, right? So that's the word I was looking for a setup. So it really is, because at the end of the day, as long as price is between my red and green arrows, I'm looking for the pink line. Okay. Now on a bigger time frame, this is what I'm concentrating on. I absolutely love this chart. So just take some fibs, go from your pivot high from back in 2008, it looks like, before the big crash. And you could see the all-time high was at or around $100. We pulled back since then, and during COVID, we pulled back as well. And for me, okay, as long as price is like in this channel below 38.2, it's typically just kind of a week to week sort of trade. I don't want to be long term here. Now, once we break the 38.2 and we can show that we could stay above the 38.2, then things start to look a lot different, folks. So, this is again going back and studying this. What I'm looking for right now, we are holding above the 38.2. We've tried it several months, okay? It looks like if I look up here, 3 months we held there. We couldn't do it. We came back to find more buyers at the 9 EMA. We pulled back into that level, all right, and now we're starting to push up again, all right. So we're pushing back up into that, and you could see that pushing up above that 38.2, I'm looking for 45 and then 50, and this is MGM. So I took the trade right out the bat this morning. I took the, let's see here, looks like we took the 41 and a half calls. I believe those went in the money. And the way that I like to approach this, so to talk about rolling, I took my profits. Let's just say that I made it like 500 bucks on this trade very quickly. Then what I do is roll out of the money, and I bought the 43s because I'm looking for that move into the trendy edge right here. Okay. What I do is I take, again, hypothetical, of that 500 that I made, I'm going to buy like 150, $200 in rolls. Okay. And if it doesn't work out, you got to have the right mindset. Okay. I didn't lose the trade. I actually made money on the trade, but I'm going to go ahead and then shoot for this out of the money, and I want to take the premium off. Okay. So I let go of the at the money in the money calls, and then I go ahead and I go for my trendy edge up here at 43. All right. Next one, I got some long-term ROKU. I'll show you what I'm looking at on that. And let's go over here into the monthly, because this one's important. I mean, this thing has really been hammered for quite some time. Same thing has come back to the trendy edge. I think we're very close for this getting a very nice sizable bounce here. We're at the 9 EMA. We're actually below it a little bit. I would like to see the month close up over this 9 EMA. Again, we won't know that until next Tuesday, but I'll be waiting to see that. And as long as we're staying above 328, again, I would like to see a run back up towards 400 into earnings. Their earnings is right down here, and that's coming in at around November 4th. All right, so November 4th. Now, this is a big rally, all right? And so when you're looking at it from this perspective, it's like, man, I really hope this trendy edge holds, because if it doesn't, you could have a date with this EMA here at around 272. All right. However, I do trust in this trendy edge, and I'm looking forward to the day that if we do come into this, this will be a nice bounce play off of this level. All right. Let's look at Sam. That thing's been getting beat up. I got some long-term trade in that as well, and I'm looking at adding. So this thing is oversold. I mean, this is nuts. So for any supply and demand traders out there, check this trade out. I mean, this is months, folks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months into an inside and up. This is what we call demand. Look at that big chaotic candle there. We're just coming in. The issue is sentiment, right? So how do you think investors feel about this? They're probably pretty scared to buy this. I mean, if I were to look at this chart and think, man, this many months down, I'm not sure I want to touch that thing. All right. But I want to be buying. This is me, not telling you guys to do this, but I want to be buying that fear and starting a long-term position in options. And what I'd like to see is once we go bid somewhere in here, I'm going to look for a price to at least move up about 38 to 50% of this pullback. So again, somewhere up towards $700-800 to the upside. All right. We do have earnings coming up. It looks like October 21st. All right. All right, let's get in here before I jump off really quick. I'm going to go to Tesla. And you can see Tesla here ended up $2.71. Pretty weak attempt, but you know what? It's Tesla. It's been weak this entire year, if you ask me. This afternoon, I jumped on Twitter and gave you guys some insight on my thoughts around Tesla. And I think personally that there's a lot of hype around it and there's a lot of unusual option activity out there. So you have a lot of traders like, pushing all that stuff out there with no process, and it kind of hypes people up. But just listen. So the support, like I said, is down here at the trendy edge. That's that yellow line. Price is pushed very closely to this inside and down. I would expect this to be resistance. Sure, we could see 720 to 750 this week if we can continue making higher lows off of these levels. But here's the issue that I was talking about, and I just want to zoom in so I can show you. All right, there we have this trend line, and that's what TL stands for. That's what I meant in my tweet. And basically, you got all these technical traders, right, that are all looking at the same thing. And when everybody's kind of looking at the same thing and not paying attention to supply and demand, they typically get this smacked in their face. Now, we were already expecting that, and that's why I tried to push out, and let everybody know, hey, everybody's looking at this. And typically, when everyone's looking, it doesn't quite work out. So give it time. Give it a little bit of flexibility. I bought out of the money in this position because I'm just not hoping. They've been a letdown almost the entire year. And because of that, I'm being patient, out of the money, and buying some time. What I would like to see is another attempt over this trend line. A new pivot high is going to let you know that, hey, they're serious this time. And if they can do that, then I'm going to start getting a little bit more giddy. And then we'll look for this move into this yellow box. Expect digestion to happen there. So we might hit these levels for this week, but I'd expect it to kind of come in. And then next week, we see that further move. Now, what I'm looking for in Tesla, it's a bigger picture. It's the monthly, looks a lot like Disney and everything else I've shown you. Rounding bottom off of the trendy edge. We came into an inside and up. It's just taking its sweet time. The overall 618 or the golden Fibonacci level is at 763. That's my first target. All right. So 763. If we break that, then the bulls are in charge, and we could see that move back up to 1,000 towards the end of the year. So, anyways, that's all I'm going to go over for tonight. Overall, it's been an amazing week. I want to keep it that way. I do have a hedge on just to let everybody know, and I did that by via put debit spreads with time on the SPY. All right, put debit spreads. And the reason why I say put debit spreads, I'm just not trying to put a lot of money into premium on the naked directional side because the market's just so strong. All right, so but I will tell you this: if those were to become in the money, I would be covered big time. So, all right, guys, you guys have a good night. I really appreciate you. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to check us out at TrendyTrading.co. We do have a blog on there as well. A lot of stuff to learn. It's for free. Why not check it out?